The first time the river spoke my name, I thought it was my imagination. Water carries many sounds at night. Frogs, paddles, and wind moving through mangroves. But this was different. This was clear, slow, and familiar. It said my name the exact same way my mother used to call me when danger was close. My name is Tarere, born of creek water and moonlight. Raised among people who learned early that river water was not just water. It is memory, it is witness, and it is judge. In my grandmother's time, before my voice existed, there ruled a man whose name is still spoken carefully. Not loudly, not casually. A man history remembers as powerful, but folklore remembers as daring. We called him the king who bargained with the river. He was not born king. He rose like tide water. Quiet at first, then impossible to ignore. He understood trade, route, and timing. He understood people. Kenus followed his permission. Markets waited for his word. Even rival chiefs listened when he spoke. But the river watched. Elders warned him early. You can guide the water, they said, but do not command it. The king smiled. I am not commanding, he replied. I am arranging. At first, the arrangement worked. Trade flowed smoothly. Canoes arrived full and left satisfied. Wealth touched every corner of the creeks, and drums sounded more often. Feasts grew longer. People praised the king for bringing order where there had been chaos. But the river grew more quiet. Fishermen noticed it first. Nets returned lighter. Familiar current shifted slightly. Night water felt cold, and even heavier, as if it was listening. I was told the priest approached the king one evening under a restless moon. The river is uneasy, they warned. It feels restricted. But the king laughed softly. The river benefits from structure, he said. Freedom without order is waste. That was the sentence the river remembered. Soon after, strange things began to happen. Canoes reached destination too quickly, as if it was pushed. Others drifted endlessly in places they knew well. Some paddlers swore they heard whispers, guiding them off familiar paths. Then came the dream. Many people had it across villages and across creeks. A man stood waist deep in water, wearing a crown that reflected moonlight. The tide rose around him, but he did not move. He argued with the river, pointing, negotiating, and insisting, and the river said nothing. The elders begged the king to perform appeasement rites, to pause and listen. Instead, he did something no ruler before him had dared. He redirected a major water route, not by force, by agreement, by influence and instruction. That night, the river changed. It did not flood, it just stayed still. Trade halted, fishes vanished. Canoes felt heavy even when empty. The water reflected faces incorrectly, older, tired, and unfamiliar. Then the river spoke again. This time, not to the king, but to the people. Children woke up crying from the same dream. Fishermen refused to paddle at dawn. Drums lost rhythm as if it was confused. When the king finally went to the water edge, dressed in full regalia, the air was tensed. I have built prosperity, he declared. I have brought control. The river answered by pulling back slightly from the shore. That was a warning. Instead of stepping back, the king stepped forward. He made the bargain. No priest recorded it. No elder approved it. It was spoken quietly and privately, where only water and ambitions could hear. He promised loyalty. He promised offerings. He also promised order. In return, he demanded obedience. The river agreed, but only for a while. Trade returned, but changed. Prosperity came, but uneven. The king's power deepened, but the sleep grew shallow, and he began to avoid night water. He stopped listening to dreams. Then one morning, the river took something small. A canoe drifted, and of course, no one panicked. The next week, another. Then a respected trader failed to return. The river had begun collecting payments. The final sign came when the tide refused to lower. Day after day, water crept closer to homes. Mangroves leaned awkwardly. Paths disappeared. Still, the king insisted all was under control, until the river spoke publicly. At dawn, before the king's eyes, the water reversed direction, flowing against the nature, against expectation. People ran, elders cried, and the priests felt silent. The king stood frozen. The river did not rise further. It did not destroy. It waited, and that was the twist we were not prepared for. The river did not want land, it wanted release. When the king finally understood, it was too late to undo quietly. He walked into the water alone at night. No drums, no announcement. The river closed around him gently. By morning, the tide returned to normal. Trade routes slowly healed, fishes returned, and dreams softened. But the king, he did not return. Some say he became part of the current. Others say he still negotiates beneath the surface, learning patience too late. As for me, generations later, I listen carefully at night, because rivers remember bargains and they never forget who tried to own them.